Good evening, everyone. Hey, everybody. I hope that you all have had a spectacular Sunday. It has certainly been a busy day for me. I am excited to be here tonight because guess what? We have just started chapter 12. Hey Camille, hey Katrina. We just started chapter 12 of 2024. Page 1 is already coming to a close. And I was thinking about just the entire year. I've been doing quite a bit of reflection and just looking over the various things that have happened since January of this year up until now. And this is the last month of the year, but it's not, to me, it's not a time to rush into 2025, but it's a time for me, and I think all leaders are probably simultaneously doing this thing where we are reflecting on the year. And so as we are coming to the latter portion of page 1 of chapter 12, I just want to know, what are your thoughts? Like how are you thinking in this last month? I know a lot of times people jump to celebrating Christmas and they jump to various other things. But as leaders, what are we thinking as it relates to what we are doing as leaders, our personal life, our professional life, and how we're handling the preparation for the year to come? And so I was thinking about that, and I was thinking why this month should be important to leaders. And I made a couple notes, but I think this month is pretty significant to us, to the people we lead, of course, to our families, because we have, again, another holiday that's coming up this month. So it's a lot going on with that. But I was thinking how this last month of the year, even in church today, I ministered the word about chapter 12. Now that was going a whole, a different angle. I don't want to use that particular approach on this live, but I do want to kind of hit why this month, chapter 12 of 2024, how it's crucial for leaders. And the number one thing I think of is what I've been doing: reflection and assessment. I mean, we can evaluate our personal achievements, our business achievements. We can evaluate our setbacks and the lessons that we learned over the year. And I have learned a lot over this year, y'all. I have a lot to consider, a lot to make adjustments in, a lot to realign. I really think this year for me has been a lot of lessons learned. And I think this reflection for us as leaders I think it's important in us understanding what strategies worked and which ones need improvement, and whether that is professionally or personally. And for me personally, I'm looking at them both, because the more I get better personally, the more I can create, the more I can execute strategies that work in both realms of my life, or any department of my life. I can do better. And so I was just thinking about that as definitely one of the number one things: reflection and assessment. Why this month is so important. To me, this month is not a landslide, like we're sliding into 2025 and forgetting about we still have 31 days to make some things happen. And so I want to be sure, I want to be so sure that everything that I'm supposed to do, whether I'm leading in my family or in my personal life, or whether I'm leading in business or leading in ministry, that I am accomplishing everything I'm supposed to in 2024. In other words, I don't want to take any baggage that's not supposed to be carried over. I don't want to carry over anything that was supposed to be completed in 2024. And so the second thing that I was thinking of why chapter 12 should be significant for us, or pretty important to us as leaders, is for strategic planning and preparation. Listen, y'all, chapter 12 is a time to prepare for what we want to see in 2025. And so I think that December is a time to set our priorities, define our goals for the upcoming year, but also finish up what we're supposed to finish up in this year, and then align the efforts with the vision and the mission for a fresh start in the new year. And these kind of things cross my mind, thinking, hey, this is not a time to just get, a clouded brain or a clouded mindset where I'm only thinking about doing this and then jumping from that straight into the new year. I think it's a process of preparation. We want to finish. That's right, Camille. She said finish 2024 strong and strategize and prepare for 2025. Absolutely. 100% I agree with that. And as we're strategizing and preparing for the new year, we can't forget to recognize and motivate as we're bringing this year to a close. This is an opportunity. I talked about this, I think, either last week or the week before. I talked about when we were talking about gratitude, that it's time to celebrate your team's successes and recognize the individual contributions. It's a great time to do that. It's going to boost the morale. It's going to strengthen the team. It's going to enhance the culture of the community within that organization, within that ministry, within that business. So I think that recognition and motivation is another thing that we should, have in order in this chapter 12. And so the fourth thing I want to mention as a reason that we as leaders should take December as significant and important is for budgeting and allocating resources. Because I don't know how it is in every business. Some businesses go by calendar year. I know by experience that the military use fiscal year. And some organizations, they go however they go, quarter by quarter. But the bottom line is that this is a time to review our financials and get a clear understanding of the health of the organization financially. I think this is a good time to do that. And then as it relates to the upcoming year, it's a time to finalize the budget and allocate the resources for the next year. A lot of times, whatever resources were not used in the current year, you reallocate them for the upcoming year. So it's a good time to do that. Budgeting and resource allocation. Absolutely. I'm one of those people that I don't like to get caught off guard when it comes to making sure resources and financials are in order. A fifth thing that I think chapter 12 is pretty significant for leaders is strengthening relationships. Strengthening relationships, because it's a great time to connect with clients. It's a great time to connect if you have stakeholders. It's a great time to connect with team members. And it's a great time to build new or start new relationships. I think starting new relationships is good. Even though, I think as it relates to getting new clients or getting new customers and whatever it is that you do, sometimes that could be more difficult than maintaining the ones you have. But I do think, in addition to that, that as you're maintaining those you have and building new relationships, that you still put that effort in, even though it is the last month of the year, because you want these relationships to carry over to the next year. And so I think that's pretty important as well, strengthening those relationships. And I don't want to skip this one. The reason I don't want to skip this one, because there was a time in my life where I put my own personal development on the back burner, trying to push other people to get personal development. And this is what I know to be true. If you spend all your time trying to develop everyone else, you will find out that everyone else will reap the benefit of you pushing them, but then you'll be behind. And when I say behind, I mean you'll be behind on taking care of you. You'll be behind on investing in you. And I think that as we invest so much as leaders into other people, as we do all that we do to help other people, we have to. I think it should be mandatory. I think it should be a rule of thumb that leaders invest in themselves. Because if we are not growing, how are we going to grow other leaders? If we are not developing, how are we going to help others get better developed in what they're doing? And so I think it's so important that we don't forget about ourselves. We need personal development too. We need it more than we admit it. We need it. So we need to use that time to review our own growth. And sometimes we got to take a look at our leadership style and see if we need to dial it back or dial it up or move a little, a little more strategically, make a pivot or whatever it is that we need to do as leaders. We got to make that evaluation about our own personal development and make sure that we are developing so that our team is constantly developing as well. Because as we learn, we teach them. And as we are teaching them, they are learning and they are growing. So I think that personal development is pretty important as well. And then setting goals for improvement, not just for your team, but also for you. I think we have to set goals for ourselves. If we don't, we will sit back one day and be like, why didn't I do that sooner? Why didn't I do that before now? And we'll find ourselves trying to do something later. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that doing something later is wrong. I'm saying that if you can do it sooner, do it. Make the investment in yourself. I can testify of my own. This is just being a transparent and a vulnerable moment for myself that I started some years ago. I started my doctorate in strategic leadership. And based upon what I had going on in my life at the time, I quit. I quit because I was trying to handle something personally or in my personal life and in my family that I thought that if I dropped my, working on my doctorate, that I could save or preserve what was going on in my personal life. And now, years later, I'm finding out that though I made that sacrifice, it still did not fix what was going wrong in my life at the time. And so I said all that to say that sometimes everybody won't agree with your growth. Sometimes everybody won't even applaud your growth, your efforts, your advancement. They won't even care. See, a lot of times people are okay with you growing as long as you don't outgrow them. And so what am I saying? Don't sacrifice your development and your growth for sake of someone else's disagreement with your growth. Leaders need to be constantly growing, constantly advancing, constantly moving in a direction that we are leading the people who are coming along with us. We need to be growing. And so definitely what you said earlier, Camille, finishing strong. We want to finish out chapter 12 like it's the best chapter in the book of 2024. We want to do the things that most people won't do the last month of the year. They won't even entertain it. In fact, they'll go into the next year and everything in their mind will be thinking 2025. Don't get me wrong. We are strategically planning for what's coming next, but we don't want to disregard what we can do right now. And so we want to finish out chapter 12 strong, y'all. Tie up loose ends. Complete the outstanding projects. Fix the relationships. Don't take any baggage into 2025. I beg you, don't do it. You know, when I used to jump out of airplanes, we had a method of landing. Let's say, for example, if we are coming near a group of trees, and sometimes you can't avoid the trees because the wind may be so strong or not strong enough either to take you past the trees or to stop you before you hit the tree line. And so what they taught us to do was to jettison our equipment. So if we had to make a tree landing, we did not want that rucksack that's normally down between your legs. You don't want that to get you caught up in the trees. You want to jettison that. And you want to make sure that you have all of your limbs free so that when you make that tree landing, there's no equipment that catches you up, but you can land however you land in the tree, and you'll be able to, if you need to cut that equipment that you just jettisoned and let it fall. Just drop it, because you don't need any extra weight when you're trying to soar. When you are soaring like eagles, you don't want any additional weight. You don't see eagles carrying stuff on their back when they're up soaring high. They don't carry stuff on their back. They're up there soaring, using the wind to carry them. And so I just want to encourage leaders tonight that as we are in chapter 12, don't take it lightly. Don't landslide out of it, but make good use of this 31 days or these 31 pages we have in chapter 12 and do something great with it. Make 2024, chapter 12, the best month in this year. However you need to do it, get it done. And I just believe that when we close out something well, we're able to enter what's new in the best way we can. Because listen, y'all know I'm gonna talk about the word now. I govern my life by the word. The Bible says the end of a thing is better than the beginning of a thing. So if we end the thing that's better than the beginning, we'll enter the beginning without extra weight, without unjust weight. And so that's what I want to leave y'all with tonight. And I hope that this helps somebody. Share it, pass it on. This is day 14. I'm so excited. Day 1, page 1 of chapter 12. Let's go. Let's make this 12th chapter the best chapter of 2024. All right, y'all. Have a blessed evening. Peace.